Hey friends, day four. We're on day four already of the Manifesting Summit here. And day four, we're going to talk about mentors and coaches. Now, remember in day three, we really talked about environment. And environment kind of goes into this a little bit when we start talking about, adding more successful people to your group of friends. Sometimes you have to subtract maybe a friend or two, but really getting into a better environment. But here we're going to focus way more on mentors and coaches. Somebody you need to go to people that have done what you want to do. Bottom line, you know what I mean. So before we get into this, I am in Thailand. This is like my probably my serene place, my favorite place to kind of walk to right here, and I'll show you an aerial of it. The sun's kind of coming up and kind of the glare is taking away the scenery here, but it's just very, very serene. There's Thai buffalo in the background. There's Thai buffalo over here. I don't know if you can see them kind of standing there. There's a whole bunch of Thai buffalo over here. They're a little far away from me, but there's male, females, and they got some kids running around there. So I might have to be careful a tiny bit. So you might see Chad running for his life down through here. But anyway, mentors and coaches. We know this. Again, we know this material. We know we need to have mentors and coaches in our lives. Just like, especially if you're an athlete and you were an athlete in middle school, high school, maybe you went to college, you're an athlete. You always had a mentor and coach. You always had teachers helping you achieve what you want to achieve, how you want to go, or if you want to go to college. Then you go off in college, you have advisors and guidance counselors and someone in your department that acts as a coach or acts as a mentor so you can stay on track to achieve what you want to achieve. So when you're an athlete, and you kind of get this, okay? And it's easier. I mean, I'm not saying it's easier for an athlete to kind of get the concept of mentor and coaches, but I think they get it more just because they always had a mentor and coach in their life at some point. Even for myself, I used to compete and train professionally in martial arts. So when I kind of went over to the business field, I was so used to having mentor and coaches clear up into my 20s, that I kind of did the same thing in business. As I searched out mentors and coaches. Okay, who's achieving, who's done what I want to do. If they're a millionaire, well, the only person who can teach you how to make $1 million, make $1 million a year, and how to keep it, you just don't win the lottery, is another millionaire. Bottom line, okay? If someone has your dream house, they're going to know a little bit more than you about having their dream house. Maybe it's just psychological. Maybe it's just them saying, hey, you can do it. Okay. This goes on day three because when you start adding, and this is what I kind of left out in day three, when you start adding mentor and coaches in your life, you start adding different caliber people to your life. What you're come to find out is the reason why you end up achieving what you want when you add a higher caliber person is because you figure out one day you wake up and you're hanging around them and you figure out that they're no different than me. They're just like me. You know what I mean? Chad's a goofball just like I am. If Chad can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean? If I hang out with Ed Milet all the time, well, if Ed Milet can do it, I can do it. If John Shin can do it, I can do it. Okay? Maybe you work in entertainment, you want to be an actor. You hang out with different acting friends that maybe they're guest stars and co-stars. But the more you hang out with them, you start getting to a point where, dude, if he can do it, I can do it. You wake up one day and you just like that. And that's why you should hang out with different caliber of people. Okay. Now let's add in the mentors and coaches. Because mentor and coaches, it's one of those fine lines where it's like, well, Chad, I get you, and you don't do it. Okay. You know to do it, but you don't. Okay. You have to stay consistent with it. It's the same thing. It might be, Chad, well, I can't find anybody. Or I can't afford them. Okay, now maybe 100%, this is true. Maybe you can't afford them one-on-one. Okay, like one-on-one coaching. Because usually one-on-one, if they're well known a little bit in the industry of personal development or success. Lots of times their one-on-ones are, top tier clients. But you can follow them on YouTube. They have a podcast. You can listen to their podcast. You can listen to them every day, once a week. Especially with mentoring coaches, I would do way more than once a month, but you need the consistency. This is easy to do in your personal development routine. Have a group of people, group of mentoring coaches that you love to listen to, either on YouTube, podcasts. When you're driving to work, turn your car into a personal development library. I've learned this years ago by Ed Milet. This is before Bluetooth came out in the cars. Now it's way more easier. This is when we had cassettes and audio CDs. And I can remember, I turned my car into a personal development library. Every time I would drive, I would have some type of success CD playing in my car. When I used to be in sales, driving to appointments, that's all I would listen to. I wouldn't listen to no music. Seriously, I'm not joking. Okay, now I'm not saying you can't listen to music in your car, but some of you commute 30 minutes to work, then you're coming home 30 minutes. At least one of those trips, you can turn your car into a personal development library. Okay, but what's kind of going on nowadays that kind of didn't go on maybe 15 years ago is what I like to call a TikTok syndrome. Okay, the TikTok syndrome is your attention span is just a few seconds. If you don't like something, you go on. You don't like something, you go on. It doesn't catch you. It doesn't have like stars all over the place. I'm not like running and doing something crazy. It's not holding your attention. You know what I mean? You can't even sit through and watch a 10-minute video on YouTube. Or you might just be sitting there thinking, well, Chad, get to the point. Okay, now this actually goes back to step one, is you need to develop your intention. You need to have a burning desire, but with Neville Goddard, you need to develop your attention and intention, meaning you have to be able to hold in your mind for long periods of time what you want. Okay, if you can't do that, that means you're suffering from the TikTok syndrome. Okay, if you can't sit there and listen to a 10-minute video without turning on the TV, you can't sit there and watch a movie without playing on your phone at the same time. Even I started doing this. It's like when I watch a movie, I try to be very, very in tune to the movie. I don't pick up my phone. When I got to eat with my girlfriend, I don't play with my phone unless we take a picture. And she even noticed that about me. It's like, oh, you don't play with your phone. When we go out, you just, your phone's just sitting there beside you, but you don't ever pick it up. But let's go back to mentors and coaches. I kind of got off on a tangent there. That was a nice little nugget to throw in there. But mentors and coaches, you need to put in somebody. You need to put in somebody that they achieved what you want to achieve, but they can push you to that next level. Because the more you really into somebody, they're going to have a story that resonates with you. Maybe they went through trauma just like you did. Maybe they grew up in a small town. It's a factory town all around them. How did they break that cycle? How did they break that small town cycle? Okay, what did they do? Maybe they were the first person to go to college in the whole family, and maybe that resonates with you because you're the same way. And just hearing their story motivates you. You get what I'm saying? Even back in the day, when I lived in LA, I used to back in probably 2003, 2004 was the year like after martial arts and stuff like that. I started getting into business, and every quarter I would go to some type of personal development seminar. It would be a 3-day seminar. We did that at least once a quarter in a company I worked with Ed Milet. And the company, this is probably the best company I worked for because it has such a success environment. It had such a great personal development environment. You're around people that that had bigger calibers than you. You're around people that made so much more money than you did. How did they do it? And you need to create that environment for yourself. And you need to have mentors and coaches in your life. And you need to blend. Like nowadays it's so perfect because you can blend it. It might take you a little while to kind of find somebody that can coach you one-on-one. I mean, just honestly, just because of the price tag that comes with it. Might take you a little bit while. But maybe you start going to the gym that they go to. You find out where they work out, and you start going there. You bump into them once in a while. You know what I mean? You start jumping on their podcasts and listening to their podcasts. You jump on their YouTubes and listen to their YouTube. Okay, that's what you got to do. Okay, it's the same way I do now. Is I'm in Thailand. I'm not going to seminars anymore like I used to. But I do the same thing. I jump on people's podcasts that I follow, maybe a handful of people. I listen to their podcast. I mean, if they have a YouTube channel, wherever their content is, I get in the habit of doing it. And this is something like now when it's going into the new year that even resonates with me because I got out of that habit, and it's something I'm putting back in. Is reaching out to them, listening to their stuff, paying attention to where they are. You know what I mean? If they're having like a 3-day seminar somewhere. I used to do this. Like I always say, I used to do this back in LA. When I got involved with Bob Proctor and stuff like that, I would go to all his seminars when he was in Los Angeles. So I would kind of keep up with him. Every once in a while, I would find out too late, and I would try to register for his event, and it would already be sold out. But he would have it online, so then I would buy it online and really sit there in my condo for 3 days, like I was there in person, doing all the exercises, listening to him. That's what I did. Okay. No one's buying it. I'm investing in myself. That's what you have to understand. This is an investment into yourself. And there's, one of the things I saw, like when I would go to seminars all the time, especially if I'm paying it for myself because I want to be there, because I'm an entrepreneur, I'm trying to figure it out myself. You can see the Thai buffalo in the background now. I'm kind of getting close to him. It's not cows, it's Thai buffalo. Just in case you're saying, Chad, that's a cow. But what I learned about people was that when their job paid them to be at that 3-day seminar, 4-day seminar, know what the separation was? Is they treated it like a vacation. Lots of times they would come and sign in, maybe stay a couple hours. Then once they had their first break, they would go off to the bar and drink or go out and eat. Or their conversation was, I can't wait till this is over so we can go out and party at nighttime. But the people that were there that paid for it themselves, that's really trying to learn and really trying to add it into their life and apply it to their business, apply it to being an entrepreneur, you know what? That was the farthest from their mind. They were there to learn and to apply it to their life. They weren't there to party. The Thai buffalo, he's looking at me. He's looking at me. He's like, "Who are you?" He's kind of giving me a curious look. It wasn't like I need to run for my life look. You get what I'm saying? Is you need to add people to your life. You want your dream car? Well, who's driving your dream car? How did they get it? Okay. Someone has your dream job, dream career. Well, how did they do it? Okay, someone's an entrepreneur and they're doing kind of what you want to do. Well, how did they do it? Okay. Even for me right now, I travel abroad. Okay, I live in Thailand. I go back and forth between Thailand and the United States, but that's what's important to me. I usually go back in the summers and I spend time with my family. My mom, dad. My dad passed away, but my mom, my sister, brother-in-law, nephew, and stuff like that. And there's a little baby, you can see it right there on my finger, little baby buffalo right there. This one's like over here looking at me. He's staring at me like making sure I'm going to be a good boy out here. But what was I saying? I kind of lost my train of thought there because I'm paying attention to the buffalo around here too. Oh yeah, I remember I was saying, like even for myself, maybe you want to travel abroad. Maybe you want to work as a digital nomad, and you start following people that do it. Maybe I'm one of them because now I share some of it like on my YouTube channel and stuff like that. But but it's reaching out to people saying, hey, dude, how do you do this stuff? Okay, how do you live in Thailand? You know what I mean? How do you do it? Okay, how do you rent a condo? How do you buy a condo? All that jazz, international. But there's a lot of things to really know. But when you follow people and you reach out to people, most of the time, unless it's just crazy, crazy, crazy busy, most of the time they reach back out to you. And if they don't the first time, maybe you reach out to them again. You reach out to them again, and you stay persistent and consistent with it. Eventually, they'll reach out to you. Eventually, they'll answer you. You know what I mean? So, or are you just kind of like, you know, that's just that isn't for me. You start making excuses in your mind, or people are just lucky. It's not luck, my friends. It really isn't. Kind of keeping that Thai buffalo in the picture there, huh? But the more you talk to people, the more someone becomes your friend. That's a different caliber, and you doing what you want to do. It's like I said, you eventually get confident because you think, well, Chad's a goofball. If Chad can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean? Ed Milet's a goofball. If Ed can do it, I can do it. If Ed can have an awesome life, so can I. And we might want different things in our lives, but we adjust it to our lives. But the thing is, we have to realize is I can have and do anything I want. And having the right mentor and coach in your life is going to help you with that. But anyway, my friends, of course, just wanted to share that with you. But this type of, you kind of see him looking at me here. His head's directed right to me. Now he looked away. Up close to the buffalo here. This is my new kind of favorite spot. Very serene. The buffaloes just eating. They're really all around me. You can kind of see them if you pay attention to the background. You kind of see them. There's some like way over here. I'm up close to stuff way over here. So this is like my new favorite spot just to come. Almost do a short meditation and just sit here and just take in the scenery. They're very, very peaceful. You can just hear kind of the birds chirping and that all that jazz. And it's good to get away from the city once in a while, especially in Thailand, especially if you live around like tourist areas and stuff like that. It's kind of good to get away for a little while. But anyway, my friends, let's wrap up day 4, mentors and coaches. You know what I'm saying. You know this stuff, okay? But it's time to kind of be consistent with it, implement it, get it back in your life, and figure it out. Okay, don't give up. If you reach out one time to somebody, they don't answer you, you can be like, whoa, I tried this, Chad, one time, it didn't work out. No, you have to stay consistent. You have to stay persistent and consistent. Make sense? But anyway, blessings to you. I'll see you in day 5. And have a happy holiday. It might be in 2025 by the time you see this. But have a blessed day. 2025 is going to be awesome. And I'll see you in the next video.